So you're thinking about buying the Yamaha DTX10K-X electronic drum kit. /N, you've seen the ads, watched the hype videos, and you're ready to upgrade to what seems like the ultimate pro electronic kit. /N, this review is going to save you a significant amount of money and frustration. /N, because today we're exposing the problems nobody is talking about. But here's what surprised me. Amidst the serious flaws, there are a few moments of genuine brilliance that make this whole situation incredibly confusing. Therefore, you absolutely need to see this before you even think about clicking Add to Cart. For the best price, click the link in the description. /N, let's start with the obvious. The price tag. /N, this is not a cheap kit. /N, you are investing in what Yamaha positions as their flagship electronic drum experience. /N, therefore, your expectations are sky high, right? You expect perfection, seamless integration, and pure drumming joy. /N, but what you get is a masterclass in compromise. /N, let's begin with the build, because this is the first contradiction. /N, the rack is monstrously sturdy. /N, it's like the industrial scaffolding of the drum world. You could probably park a small car on it. The DTX snare and the 3 tom pads feel fantastic. The textured mylar heads, the quiet rebound, the overall feel, it's premium. Therefore, you start playing and you're impressed. You think, okay, this is it, this is the one. Then you touch the hi-hat. /N, the RHH 135 real hi-hat. /N, this is where the first major problem gate crashes the party. /N, it feels cheap. /N, the footboard has a hollow, plasticky feel compared to the solidity of the rest of the kit. The connection to the module, both physically and digitally, feels like an afterthought. It's like showing up to a black tie event in a tuxedo and flip-flops. The hi-hat is the flip-flops. /N, and speaking of the module, let's dive into the brain of this beast, the DTX Brox. /N, it has a beautiful, large touchscreen. /N, the interface is sleek. /N, it's packed with sounds, literally thousands of them. /N, therefore, you'd think you have infinite sonic possibilities. /N, but the user interface is a labyrinth. /N, navigating menus to simply change a kit or tweak a sound feels like you need a PhD in Yamahology. Want to adjust the sensitivity of that snare you love? Get ready for a 5-minute dive through submenus. It's so complex, I think the module is judging me. I messed up a setting and I swear the screen displayed, seriously. Again, /N, this brings us to the core sound issue. /N, the proprietary Yamaha sounds, especially the acoustic drum and cymbal samples, are stunning. The detail, the warmth, the realism in the overhead and room mics, it's some of the best in the business. Therefore, when you're playing a well-mixed preset kit, it's a religious experience. /N, but the third-party sounds and the general sound management are a disaster. /N, loading your own samples is a chore. /N, the organization system is archaic. /N, and many of the non-premium sounds, the electronic kits, the percussion, sound dated and flat. You're paying for a flagship module, but half of its library feels like it's from a decade ago. It's like buying a luxury car, but the radio only plays smooth jazz and static. /N, now, let's talk about the cymbals, because this is a 2-act tragedy. /N, the PCY 175 ride cymbal is good. /N, it has a great feel, decent bell response, and the 3-zone triggering works well. /N, but the crash cymbals. /N, the crash cymbals. /N, the lack of multi-zone triggering on the crashes in a kit at this price point is borderline offensive. You get a single trigger zone, hit it anywhere, and it's the same sound. There's no tonal variation from bow to edge, no ability to do sophisticated crash techniques. For a pro kit, this is a massive oversight. Therefore, your expressiveness is immediately hamstrung. /N, and then there's the second act, the cymbal noise. /N, not acoustic noise, electronic noise. /N, I experienced consistent triggering errors, especially with fast crashes and rides. Ghost triggers, double triggers, cymbal chokes that don't register. I spent more time in the module's trigger settings than actually playing. I felt less like a drummer and more like a confused IT technician trying to debug a very expensive server. /N, let's rehook for a second. Is this kit all bad? N absolutely not. N and that's the most frustrating part. N when it works, it's sublime. N the snare and tom feel is arguably the best on the market. The kick tower is responsive and quiet. The potential is there, glaring at you from behind a wall of poor design choices. So why did Yamaha get the big things so right and the important details so wrong? And this leads us to the elephant in the room, the setup and calibration. N you will need an entire afternoon. N this isn't a plug-and-play kit. N every pad needs individual sensitivity, threshold, and curve adjustment to behave. The hi-hat requires a calibration ritual that involves pressing the pedal while standing on one foot and reciting the Yamaha company motto. Okay, not really, but it feels just as obscure. Therefore, out of the box, the kit feels unbalanced and inconsistent. N but once you dial it in, it gets better. N not perfect, but better. N the problem is, for over $5,000, you shouldn't be the one doing the final quality control. You're paying for a finished product, not a project kit. This isn't a model airplane. It's supposed to be a professional musical instrument. My first joke attempt during setup died faster than an uncalibrated hi-hat's open sound. N speaking of value, let's discuss the competition. N Roland's TD50 series exists. N their digital snare, ride, and hi-hat are seamlessly integrated. N the module workflow, while not perfect, is more intuitive. N therefore, the DTX10K-X isn't competing in a vacuum. N but Yamaha banks on its superior acoustic drum feel and those pristine sounds. N it's a trade-off, feel versus functionality, and for many drummers, that feel is everything. I get it. Hitting these pads is satisfying in a way that rubber pads never will be. It's the difference between a handshake and a high five from a robot. The robot's high five might be more precise, but it's weird. N here's another major problem: long-term reliability concerns. N the hi-hat mechanism, with its intricate optical sensor, feels like a future service call waiting to happen. N the multitude of cables and connections, each a potential point of failure. N the complexity of the module means more things can go wrong software-wise. Therefore, your forever kit might become a frequent repair kit. This isn't a tank like the older Yamaha kits. It's a high-performance sports car with a finicky transmission. N let's lighten the mood with a joke. N what do you call a DTX10K-X that's perfectly calibrated? A fictional story told by a Yamaha marketing executive. N okay, that was less a joke and more a cry for help. N back to the review. N is there a scenario where I'd recommend this kit? N yes, but it's a narrow one. N if you are a drummer whose primary concern is replicating the exact feel of an acoustic kit above all else. More than intuitive workflow, more than cymbal expression, more than plug-and-play reliability, and you have the patience of a saint and the technical aptitude of an engineer, then this kit's strengths might outweigh its weaknesses. N but for everyone else, for the home studio enthusiast, the gigging musician, the teacher, the songwriter who just wants to play. The problems are too significant. The constant tweaking, the hi-hat letdown, the cymbal limitations, they will wear on you. Therefore, this kit becomes a source of frustration, not inspiration. N let's do a quick pro-con to summarize. N pros, unmatched acoustic pad feel. Exceptional core acoustic drum and cymbal samples. Super stable professional-grade rack. Beautiful high-res touchscreen. N cons, maddeningly complex user interface. Subpar hi-hat feel and potential reliability. Crash cymbals lack multi-zone triggering. Significant trigger errors require constant adjustment. Outdated sound library in many categories. A setup process that feels like a second job. N see the imbalance. N the cons are operational. They affect you every single time you sit down to play. N the pros are experiential, but you have to fight through the cons to experience them. It's like a restaurant with amazing food but terrible service, uncomfortable chairs, and they make you cook the appetizer yourself. Eventually, you stop going. /N my final verdict. /N the Yamaha DTX10K-X is a brilliant concept hampered by flawed execution. /N it feels like two different teams designed it. One team of master drummers who built the pads and one team of abstract artists who designed the software. They never met. They communicated only by cryptic sticky notes. The result is a kit of breathtaking contradictions. Therefore, I cannot recommend it for most drummers. /N there are better values. /N there are more reliable options. /N there are kits that respect your time and intelligence. /N for the same investment, you could assemble a hybrid kit with a Roland or F-Note brain and Yamaha-style pads and potentially have a better overall experience. Or you could look at the competition's flagship offerings that offer a more complete, integrated package. /N don't get seduced by the feel alone. /N you are buying an entire ecosystem. /N and the DTX10K-X's ecosystem has some dangerously swampy areas. You might get the best pad feel in the world, but if your hi-hat won't trigger a clean open sound during a chorus, what's the point? It's the musical equivalent of having a sports car that only starts on Tuesdays. /N so, should you buy the Yamaha DTX10K-X? /N for the vast majority of you watching this, the answer is no. /N the problems are too fundamental, the price is too high, and the frustration is too guaranteed. /N it's a kit that demands more from you than it gives back. /N therefore, save your money, save your sanity, and look elsewhere. Your future drummer self will thank you. And if you want to see the kits I do recommend for various budgets and needs, let me know in the comments below. For the best price on Amazon, if you're still determined to walk this path, click the link in the description.